The American Revolution. Motivations for colonization. England wanted to colonize for religious reasons, to increase profits and power all over the world. One of the motivators were Sir Walter. The 13 original colonies. It went from Maine to Georgia, and they were split into three sections: the Northern, the New England, and the Southern colonies. The colonies were different in many ways, in religious, economics, and politics. The Navigation Acts were designed to regulate trade and enable England to collect taxes. The French and Indian War. It took place in the New England and British colonies. It put Britain in great debt, and it lasted for 7 years. It ended with the Treaty of Paris. King George III. He was a defective ruler. He was not liked in England, and he really didn't care about the colonies' problems. The Proclamation of 1763. It stopped the settlement westward of the Appalachian Mountains made by King George III. This really angered the colonists, because the ones who were already settled there had to move. The Sugar Act. It included sugar, molasses, red wine, and rum. Merchants were required to pay taxes per gallon. The colonists were upset because it was during a depression due to the 7 Years' War. The Stamp Act. British Parliament passed the Stamp Act in March the 22nd, 1765. They put taxes on everything paper, legal documents, license, and even playing cards. This was the first time hearing no taxation without representation. The Sons of Liberty were an organization that were created to protect the rights of the colonists. They wanted to get rid of the British taxes. This included Samuel Adams, Benedict Arnold, and John Hancock. The Boston Massacre. British soldiers and the Patriot mob got into a deadly street fight that was caused by a thrown snowball, which triggered the first gunshots. The Tea Act. The colonies were upset because the Tea Act would give the East India Company a monopoly on tea sales. The Boston Tea Party. The Sons of Liberty held a tea party because the Tea Act and the taxes on tea. As a result, Great Britain passed the Intolerable Acts. The colonies refused to unpack the teas off the boats. Common Sense by Thomas Paine. He wrote this because he wanted people to understand the unjust ways of King George. Common Sense basically talks about the advocating of independence. The Enlightenment thinkers. They were thinkers who helped create ideas of what the colonies should do to get their freedom. They protect the colonists' rights. The Declaration of Independence, written by Thomas Jefferson. The Declaration of Independence helped the colonies declare themselves on a dependent nation. The Declaration of Independence has 5 parts: the preamble, the Statement of Human Rights, charges against human rights, charges against the King and Parliament, and the Statement of Separation and signatures. The Revolutionary War. The Americans were led by General George Washington. Their advantages were their desire to fight for their freedom. They knew the land, which helped with getting around, and they had a great commander. The British were led by William Howe. Their advantages were they had experienced soldiers and leaders. They were wealthy, had weapons and power, and they also had loyal colonists. They had a big and strong army. The Revolutionary War continued. Loyalists were American colonists who remained loyal to Great Britain. The American Revolution was a war of independence. It began 1775 and ended 1783. This war was fought between the 13 colonies in Great Britain. The Treaty of Paris. Negotiated agreements between the U.S. and Great Britain ending the war, and also the French and Indian War. The Articles of Confederation established the functions of a national government after the independence was declared. It was first composed in Philadelphia. It was put in effect in 1781 and lasted until 1789. It was written by John Dickinson. The Constitution. The Congress was ratified due to the defects in the post-Revolutionary War Articles of Confederation. The Constitution was better because the Articles of Confederation had many weaknesses, while the Constitution was strong and powerful. The election of George Washington. George Washington was elected president February 4th, 1789. He became president because he was a strong commander and he helped frame the Constitution.